Okay. Is that what it? That's true. Now, see, now I'm not going to get my books. I put bookmarks in there.
Well, if you close this one,
The problem is, I'm afraid it's going to close the CCC confer thing, and then I'm going to be really in deep trouble. So we'll just forge on. I'll use the notepad though. That'll be helpful. Interactive. Okay. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Let me do one more thing here. Okay, I'll look. I'm looking, Cal. It says, question, using PHP, can an if statement clause be put inside a TD cell? Sure. You'd have to do an open PHP, close PHP, marks inside there, but you could then put an if on the inside. You can do almost anything you want.
pretty open.
Yeah, you can open that PHP and put a little PHP code with an if that echoes something right in the middle of the TD clause. That would work just fine. In fact, I think we had some examples like that.
I usually do an if debug condition, so I can just turn them off when I'm done with the whole thing.
Okay. Over here. Great. That worked. Okay. Let's go back to what we're going to talk about tonight. Okay, it takes me longer every night. I thought I was going to be better prepared tonight to get started, but it took me longer to get started tonight than last time. So, sorry guys. Most everyone did pretty well on assignment 5. What was assignment 5? Images. Yeah. I think most everyone did pretty well. There's a few people that are having a rough time keeping up, but other than that, I think people did pretty well on assignment 5. Any questions that come up on assignment 6, which is the first login stuff? We're going to talk about that some more tonight. We're actually going to answer some questions that we had last time about how to use a database and HTTP authentication and those kind of things. So that's kind of where we're going. We're going to talk about cookies tonight and sessions. We're going to start learning how to use them. You can learn how to set a cookie with the set cookie method. Look at the cookie super global variable. We're going to talk a little bit about cookies and sessions in general and just what their strengths and weaknesses are. We'll talk about sessions, the session start method, the $session variable, and the session destroy, and a method to encrypt passwords called SHA. So that's where we're going. So first, who knows about cookies already? Where are cookies kept? They're kept in the browser, which is on the client. Right. So both of those is right. All right. The strength of that is that it's carried forward for any amount of time that you decide. You can expire a cookie never, and so it'll always stay there. Or you can make it expire as soon as your session's over, but you have control over a cookie. That same strength that it's on the browser and on the PC is its weakness. It's in control of the user of the browser. They can decide not to accept cookies. It's not done that much anymore nowadays, because I think most cookies have kind of proved themselves to be useful to users. But some people still hang on to the I don't want anybody putting anything on my computer without my knowledge. And that's kind of what happens with a cookie. It gets set and saved by the browser on your PC. So you can come back tomorrow, and if the cookie hasn't expired, it'll be there tomorrow. In fact, that's how Amazon and a lot of the commercial sites remember who you are. When you get back to that site and you're there, it's typically had a cookie on your computer that's how it's remembering who you are, how to log in. Even before you've logged in, it knows who you are. So that's the strength of cookies, yeah.
Internally, does the browser somehow key the cookies to the URL that you're going to?
Yeah, so they are keyed to the. It goes with the page. It goes with a. There's actually an ID that goes into the cookie that gets. That's how it's looked up.
So two different pages could use the same cookie string, but the browser will know that they're different based on the page you're accessing. Yeah,
except for in our application, because we're all on the same site. Okay, if you use a cookie string in one of your pages, like user ID, and you look that up, and then you go to another page, that user ID, that'll be this, and you get that cookie. It'll be the same user ID between pages. In fact, that's one of the strengths. That's how you can pass data from one page to another. Without having to do a URL string along the top. That's how you get data from one page to another. Is either with a session or a cookie. Yeah, Tim?
How are cookies secure to prevent one site from getting another site cookie?
I think I don't know a lot about that, but I think that's protected basically by the browser. They're tied to a specific site. So when that URL you're going to that URL, that site has access to their cookies, not another site's cookies. Data in a cookie can be encrypted or not. It's usually string data. Cookies are not, because they're kept on the browser on the PC, you typically don't put a lot of data in a cookie. You're not going to save a lot. You're going to save small amounts of data. And that is mostly a performance thing. It's not really designed to do a lot of data. Now sessions look a lot and can operate a lot like cookies. They're not kept on the browser though. They're kept on the server. Their lifespan is limited. They're only there for the length of typically that run of the browser. If you exit your browser, that will end any session that you had going, any sessions, any connections you had with the server, and that session will be over. So that's the length of a session. Doesn't go multiple days. Yeah.
In other words, close the browser, not just go to another page.
Not just go to another page. That's right. It's close the browser. Typically, sessions will survive going to another page. And you come back to your page, the session can still be active.
How does that work? Is the session only known by the browser itself? It's not known by the...
The way it's really done, it's actually done with a cookie. The session has an identification that looks like for your C++ programmer, it looks like a GUID, big long string that's guaranteed, quote, guaranteed to be unique. It saves that identification for the session in a cookie on the browser. And so when it comes back, it knows that's a session cookie. So the browser knows to throw it away. Once it goes away, all those things go away. But that's how it's remembered on the PC.
Is there anything happening on the server side that knows about the session ID?
We'll talk about that tonight. Some, yes, you can query the session ID, and if you can make sessions still work even if the user has cookies turned off, and that's
So it uses a cookie even if they turn off cookies?
It doesn't use a cookie anymore, but you can get around it by basically passing this session ID in the URL string instead. And it's a workaround for when they have to allow a session to work when cookies have been turned off. And so it then passes that big long GUID on the URL from one page to the next, so you know that you've got a session. Yeah, Tim?
No, you got code. You use text.
Yes, you do.
You draw and change your thing.
Well, no, you don't have to change that much. The only thing you have to change is the writing of the GUID. When you link from one page to another, you do have to manually attach the GUID to the URL string with the question mark, special identifier. The book actually talks about it very specifically, about how to do it.
Sorry, one follow-up question. Why does it not do that all the time anyway?
Why not do that all the time?
Yeah.
You could, except for it kind of clutters up the URLs. Okay, you get those big long URLs that look like.
I use the session in my assignment 6, and when I log off, I destroy everything. But I did find you have to put that session start on every page, or you zero access information.
Yeah, we'll talk about that tonight as well.
I'm just curious.
Stephen?
Is the server keeping the session ID like in a separate database or something?
It's keeping it separate, and in the generic sense, it's keeping it in a database. But
I was just curious if let's say these sessions, let's say you just kept querying the database to see that as you pass the ID of the user back, would that be a lot slower, or is that not going to fail?
It's a lot. Well, you'll see what it looks like with the sessions and cookies. I have a feeling that's going to be, probably would be slower because you're going to have to do a database access every time you access the page. And you wouldn't necessarily have to do that before with sessions. It's all kept by the server and the browser. So it would be more efficient. Okay. So, we talked about, I think Stephen, you asked the question last time. Look, when we were talking about HTTP authentication, can we, instead of just hard coding, which is what we did in the current example, we just hard coded a password, can we look it up in a database? Well, the first example in the book that they show is using HTTP authentication and looking it up in the database. So this is the first example. So the very top of it looks very similar. I mean, this is new. We didn't have to require connect bars like we did last time. But this part basically looks the same. You have your headers that are going to make it prompt for a login and password. And if they hit the cancel button, you're going to get this message, which in this case, it's actually going to give you a link to the sign-up page. That's what this part over here. So it's echoing basically a little bit of HTML that says you got to sign up to get into this database, and puts a link right
But the
here.
idea in our assignment was to let them on the site and allow them to add people to the file without logging in.
That is right. I'm talking. This is one step after your assignment is basically to hard code a password in your file and just check for that password and allow people to do administrative functions if they put in that password. I didn't ask for accessing a database in that example. Now we're moving forward from that example. And this is the first kind of step in doing that, is why don't we just use HTTP authentication and look at the login and the password in the database. And you can do that. The very first part of it looks the same. Here we're going to get the username and password. We're going to do our typical trim and escape string and all that kind of stuff. We're going to get it out of the server string like we did before. So that's how they logged in. Okay, so we've gotten past, they didn't hit cancel, they actually put in a login and a password at this point in the script. And we can get the login and password out and put it in these two variables you see right here. Then we can do a select of user ID and username from our database where the username is equal to this username up here and the password is equal to the password up here, except for this thing right there, that SHA. Generally, I wouldn't say generally, all the time, you don't want to keep people's passwords in a database or a file or any other thing like that in a web application. You don't want to keep it in the clear, so they call it. You don't want to just keep it in clear text. Somebody breaks into your database or breaks into your site, all your people's logins are right there. Kind of hear about once every 2 months, you hear about somebody broke in somewhere. Yeah, got passwords. So one way to mitigate that is you don't save it in a clear text. Much like that file that we used before with the encryption, this does the same thing. Yeah.
Is there any way to require the browser to send the password already encrypted? Because at this point it's not encrypted.
You're right. It came up from the browser, and that's a good point. The password came up from the browser in the clear, went across the internet, however many machines that is, and got to your server as plain text at this point. The way you do that is by using HTTPS. It's basically SSH, so it encrypts all the traffic between you and your browser. And I don't know if we cover that or not. You do. You got to pay extra for that. But almost any login for, especially a financial site, will do that.
You can't do that with JavaScript. Well, actually, it's through the browser's login.
You probably could. Yeah, you could manually do it.
But at the time you're logging in, at least with what we've learned so far, it's the browsers and that passes it through the headers,
Right. Passes it through the headers.
Your page doesn't have access to that yet.
Yeah, the only place that has access to it is through these two variables here.
Right. So
That's where it's getting access to those variables. Now, even the Java way of doing it has probably some insecurities.
but in the authentication, is there a way to request secure login through the headers at the top?
Not to my knowledge. And then you have to do it through HTTPS.
Yeah, but
It's a whole with a certificate and the whole deal.
not necessarily. All I want is the password. No matter what you do with the password.
So if you pass down I was just going to say, if you pass down a JavaScript to encrypt stuff, people can look at that. It's on the browser. Yeah. So yeah, I think you have to be careful of that. I think that's a good point, but I think you have to use the kind of the accepted browser methods to do that, which is HTTPS.
I'm going to use the back up to the top.
Yeah.
You have the header, the HTTP, and then you repeat it down below. And what's the sequence of them?
Okay, I'm not done yet. I keep getting questions. Let's walk through this a little bit more. Okay, so we get down through here, we query the database, we make sure things.
Can I back up?
Yeah.
What happened with the first batch of code?
Right here.
Right. Yeah. There's an if statement there, and
So this is just like before. That it'll either be satisfied. It'll keep displaying the login thing until that if statement at the top is satisfied, or they hit cancel, and then the exit will be executed.
how does that get satisfied if you've got your username and the password someplace else?
This is being satisfied if they're set. You're not checking yet. You're not checking to make sure that they're anything correct yet. Just are they there? So we're just checking. You'll get past this statement if you've got a login and a password.
Just saying they've already logged in.
No?
No?
It just says they've given you a login name and a password. That's all it's saying so far.
Okay, this is validation.
Yeah, it says I've tried to sign on. They hit OK.
Mm-hmm.
So they've gotten past. If they get to this statement, they've hit OK. They've put in a login and a password. Right.
Now,
So
it just says they've entered 2 items into 2 fields.
that's really all it says.
Those are valid.
They haven't quote logged in yet.
Right, they're in the process.
It just says they entered something into those 2 fields.
And then it goes and checks it. And that's this line is the one that's going to go and check it. Did I get is that username and that password saved in my database? And you just give it you don't remember the password. The password is in clear text at that point, but you encrypt it in the database. It's encrypted. So you just encrypt it and say, "So I got one like that." Encrypted password
So
already.
the SHA encrypted.
Encrypts it. So if you were nefarious, you could write their password out to a file, but you're the honorable programmer who doesn't do things like that. Okay, because what you do in that variable, you have the clear password, and you encrypt it and compare it against the encrypted version of it in the database. And then basically, you need to get a rollback. And that means it worked. Okay, if you get a rollback from this query, then your login worked and the guy's okay. And I'm just going to set a couple variables. You get the username and password out of the database, and I'm going to go on. And it's just going to echo at this point what the username was. You logged in, happy, welcome to the system, whatever you want to say. Now, if this did not work, this looks familiar again. Put up the login banner again. And as soon as they hit OK on the banner, you'll go back and do this. Actually, you go to the top of the file again. Server will be set. You'll go down and check the server name, the login name, and the password again.
At that point, they're getting the login dialog again.
Right.
If they don't get canceled, won't that drop down to the echo statement below?
They're getting the.
Because you were logged in and out?
It turns out no, it doesn't. It starts this page whenever they hit OK on the login page, wherever you've asked the login and password page to happen. It starts at the top of the script again. So when it goes to the top of the script again, it starts over. And that's basically what happens up here too. Even when you just had this, it was a lot shorter, but it went back to the top of the script every time they hit OK.
Sending that header, does it clear the server variables?
Which header?
Sending the header 401 unauthorized, does that clear the server variables for PHP?
No.
Off user and off password?
Well, it's going to reset them if they enter something.
No, I mean, what if they just hit OK without entering? Is that? I'm trying to think, because they've got this login dialog where they've already entered something. They go through this, but they typed something wrong. So it drops through to here and it says, basically saying, well, I didn't get a match, so it's going to repost the login.
Right.
Does the login dialog automatically?
The server variables have to be reset again because the login variable, the HTTP authentication sets the server variables for those two items.
Okay, that's what I was trying to ask.
Yeah, it has to do that. Hi, Sharon. On exit, can you direct it to a specific page? Sure. You can either direct it to a specific page, or this could be a require at the top of every page, because basically this is just like you were doing before. You would need to put this on every page that you want to be secured. So you typically have this in a file. This one's called login.php. And you would require it at the top of every page. Now, it won't log in the next time if you've already satisfied the HTTP authentication on the next page. Okay. Now, turns out we're not going to do our homework this next time around. We won't do it this way. Because there's a problem with using HTTP authentication. There's no way to log out. The only way to log out and require them to enter a password again is to end the browser.
And that's what H2.
With HTTP authentication, using these headers to display a header page. There's no way to log out of it. The browser just remembers for as long as the browser's alive. If you exit the browser completely and re-enter, then it'll reprompt again. So that's
a problem.
That's a problem. Yeah, that's a limitation. It's a significant problem because if anybody ever wants to use, a public computer with a public browser, they're going to want to be able to log out when they're done. Some applications allow you to stay logged in from using cookies. You could stay logged in over days if you wanted to. So you would need a way to log out if they said, nope, not anymore. So we're going to do it in a different way. We're actually going to use cookies and sessions to do it. So here's the login page that uses cookies and sessions. Basically, you have to have at the bottom is a form that asks for a login and a password. So that's all that this really is down here. Okay, so nothing really. And so the first time through this script, you'll do a session start. You'll say is set the session user ID, and it won't be set. Okay, so you won't execute any of this code. You'll just come down and display the form. Okay. So, well, how do we check? Here. Okay, so at the top of the script, we always start with a session start method. In any page that's going to use sessions, this kind of makes the connection with PHP. If you're going to access the underscore session variable, you've got to start with the session start. It's just a rule. Now this one's going to, first thing it's going to see, do I have a user ID set in the session? First thing actually it's going to say is, do I not have a session ID set in the session? So what I said before was not correct. The second thing is going to say, do I have a post from the form down below? So if I don't have a post, it's going to display the form down here. So the very first thing says, do I have something in the session variable? And if not, I'm going to go to the next if statement. And it's going to say, did I have something from the post, which is from the form down below on the page? If yes, I've got something to work with. So I open up my database. I get the username and password that's on that login form that was posted, and it comes out of a post now. Do the typical sanitizing of the username and password. I make sure that they're not empty. They both have to have something in it. Then I'm going to look them up in the database. This looks a little bit like the other one. Username and password, and it's encrypted again over here. I'm going to see if they're in the database. So I do the query. I'm going to check to see if I got a row. Okay. Now, the very first thing it's going to do is, okay, I got a row. So I'm going to put in my session variable the user ID and the username. But wait, what is it doing with cookies here as well? It's also setting a cookie for user ID and username. And in setting a cookie, you give it a key basically for the cookie. This is which cookie I want, the value of the cookie, and then an expiration time. And the expiration time is in seconds. So this is going to expire in 60 seconds times 60 minutes in an hour times 24 hours in a day times 30 days in a month, or 30 days. I'm going to expire this cookie in 30 days. Okay. Well, it's an easy way to do it without having to type in a long number. That, you're not sure what it is. This is a little bit easier to understand what it's doing. It's in seconds. 60 times 60 is seconds in a minute. It's 3,600, or 3,600 seconds in an hour. 24 times 24 times 30. So the reason, can you think of why he wants to put the user ID and the username in the cookie? Why would he want to do that? Session would be enough, wouldn't it?
Because if they close the page and then come back 20 minutes later, you want to stay in, be still logged in.
That's the key. Sessions are only, it's due to the lifetime of a session, only as long as the browser's there. Now, if that's all you want, if that's as long as you want them to be logged in, and you want them to be automatically logged out if the browser goes away, okay. You don't have to put it in the cookie. So why doesn't he just use cookies? Cookies can be disabled. So how do you handle it how do you keep somebody logged in for any period of time if cookies have been disabled? So it allows the application to work even if they have cookies disabled.
I think it's just on that user site.
Well, I think somebody mentioned that there's sites around there that are like that. They check to see if you have cookies disabled and don't let you play if they turned off cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's probably because they keep so much information. Yeah, Tim?
Cookies is just going to be a little file next to the computer.
Yeah, you can actually, in your browser, you can look up cookies. Can't remember where they are in Firefox. You guys remember?
Here's your roaming profile.
My roaming profile.
Yeah.
Remove individual cookies. So here are a bunch of cookies.
And there's remove those.
Yeah.
So somewhere you could see what's in it.
Yeah, there is where to see what's in it.
So Santa Rosa.edu.
Chrome and Chrome has
Doesn't look like it's giving us the value of them. It's just giving the cookie name. Oh, look at that. So there's a cookie from Santa Rosa.edu called UTMB. Its name is that. It's got some funny content. I don't know. There's the site basically for the cookie. I don't know what the path is. I guess you can give some hierarchy to cookies. And it expires. It expired already? No. October 1st. Yep, looks like it expired already. I'm not sure why it's still there. This one expires at the end of the session.
Have you done that?
that one expires in a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one expires in a year.
Sometime next year.
Now you can set an expiration date. I think it's if you set it to 0, it doesn't expire, or it expires at the end of the session. You can look that up exactly what those values are.
Curious,
Yeah.
cookies like you read on forum data, like mandated by WPC, or is that standard that they're all browsers follow?
I think all browsers, there's a standard for how cookies are handled, and it's handled through the headers. So we see a lot of standards around HTML because there's a standard way browsers have to handle HTML. All those headers and all that kind of thing, there's a standard for that as well.
Do you have the web development tools on that Firefox? Yeah. That, and then go down to
May not have everything inside.
no, they don't have a lot of tools there.
Okay.
But if you have the web development stuff, there's an option in there to show cookies.
You show cookies? Okay, show a cookie. Okay.
Presumably, if you have the right tool, you can change that.
Sure.
Change your start date, whatever.
There was one line that was encrypted, but the other ones were clear side.
With the actual data encrypted, not always encrypted.
In the cookie.
If the actual data content,
Mm-hmm.
that always encrypted.
I don't know if that's always encrypted. I'm not sure.
No, I think it's where the
I think the general idea behind cookies is that you're putting it on my computer, I should be able to access it. So as a developer, you've got to keep that in mind as well. They can access it. Yes, Steve?
I have a question on a block of code there. Nothing is in a sense of the browser at that point, correct?
That's correct. That's why, Tim, remember I told you could use a header to redirect? That's why that works. Because nothing has been sent to the browser at that point. So this is redirecting. If everything works, it saves off the session, it saves off the cookie, and then redirects the person off to another site, another page. So, did we answer your question?
Yes, it's just right now my thinking that somebody had typed it right something into the login.
They did.
And the login sent them to the page, or it was
Let's send them back to this page
at the top.
at the top, new again. Okay. So every time you come back at the top from the post basically. This isn't HTTP authentication anymore. This is a post from the forum. But every time you come back to this page, you come back from the top. Brand new. Everything's new. Those are really good questions because I think that's one area that people get confused about when they're doing this PHP programming is the life cycle of the page. When does it start? When is it new? When are my variables all refreshed? Those are really important questions. So generally, there's this post at the bottom. Once that post has been sent out, this PHP program goes away, and there's just a form sitting on a browser. When they hit submit, they've entered the username and login. The bottom of that form, on the top of the form says, bring me back to this page. Okay? That's the action for this form, is to come back to this page. And so it starts at the top. The only place it can start, at the top of this page. Okay. Any other? didn't mean to do that. But I don't want to develop in C++. I accidentally hit it. User error.
So the next step after you have a valid logon is that index.php page where you set it there.
Yeah, the next thing after this, a successful outcome of this page is this right here. I'm going to save off this information, but then we're going to redirect using this code right here, which just says, what server am I on? What's the directory that my file is in? I'm going to go to index.php in that same location. So it's going to redirect to that page. Does that make sense? Okay. Excuse me?
You can just type it in the address bar at the top, or it would be in the index page in the first one.
Yeah, let's, I probably should have gone here first. Just so you see this working in action. So here's the index page. We haven't looked at the index page yet, but here's the index page before anybody's logged in. Just names. There's a login or a sign up. I've already signed up, so I can log in. There's the login page. That's the page we've been looking at. That's all it is. So that's that code at the bottom of the login page. So I can log in with my username. And it directs me back to the index page when I successfully logged in. Now the index page is a little bit different. It allows me to edit my profile. That link wasn't there before. View a profile and log out. So this page changed now that it knows that I've logged in. So we're going to go there. We're going to go look at the index page in a second. It also lets you look at the profile for other people on the site. And I can look at my own profile, or I can edit my own profile. So it allows me to edit my profile, which it didn't allow me to do before. It knew I was logged in.
The URL that we did on the page before and after the index.
So how is the URL any different?
Yeah.
I don't think it was any different. So here I am logged in, okay, chapter 7 index.php. There's nothing on the URL. And if I log out, same thing, nothing on the URL. So this page isn't keeping anything on the URL. It's all being done through that one session ID cookie or the other two cookies that are being saved. Okay, so let's look at index. I forgot to put that in. Okay, so what does index do to make sure that it's secure, or that so that it operates differently if you're logged in or not logged in? Well, it starts at the top with the session start. So whenever you're using sessions and you want to access that session variable, you need to do a session start at the beginning. So first thing it does is, do I have a session? Do I have a username in the session variable? If I do, I don't follow that logic any further. I'm just okay, and then go on to the page. Okay, so I'm okay. That's all it needs to do. If I don't have a session set, I check to make sure if there's a cookie set for username, user ID, and username. If I do have a cookie set, then I go ahead and set my session variable to those values. So I don't have to be checking both. I can just set the session variable, and now I'm going to use that as my indication that I've logged in. So it's basically using the cookie now. If somebody comes back the next day, the session is gone, because or they just exit the browser and come back in, the session is gone. So I want to use the cookie. If they have the cookies enabled, I want to be able to remember my login from cookies. So this is how it does it. See?
I'm just curious, session starters at every single page.
It's going to use a set. It's going to. You don't close it. I'm going to show you something about logging out, so that you can close a session.
I'm just curious why it would always be, you start with something, you have to start with another thing.
Well, and it's because the page is new. Every time you enter a page, everything's a clean slate. Right. Very first thing, all that session start does is do exactly what you just said. It goes out and sees if there's an active session. If it is, it fills in the session variable. Yeah.
But it has to, at some point, it's copying the cookies up to the server, right? The cookie contents are getting copied up. Because you don't, when you test these cookie values, it's not going down to the client to find out.
Here, it does have to go down to the PC to get these two cookies. If you get this far, but sessions are on the server and cookies are on the client. So through that conversation that happens through the headers at the beginning, it's passing back and forth cookies that are set for the site and that kind of information to the server, so that this variable can be set for the PHP program. So you're right, there does need to be a conversation, and that's why cookies generally aren't used for large amounts of data, where a session could be. It's all on the server. It's just memory at that point on the server, and you're passing stuff around. But the cookies are getting passed back and forth between the browser and the server.
To get more elaborate, I guess you have a shopping cart.
Yeah, it gets somewhat more elaborate. You might save a little bit more information. Certainly you're doing this all over an encrypted connection at that point. But the general idea is the same. You've got variables now that are passed from one page to another through this session variable.
So let's say you have 5 items in a shopping cart, you can go spending 5 different sessions with different items.
Wouldn't be different sessions. It would be a session with 5 different variables in the array for the ID, or you could have one variable in the array which is a comma limited string of IDs of things in the shopping cart.
So
yeah.
just along the lines of that question, so any number of variables fall into like into
Yeah, any variables, anything you want in the session, that's right.
Put an array.
Yeah. Okay, so the part now that, let's look at one part. I want to find a part that's going to put a link in or not. So we're in an index. Oh yeah.
You generate navigation menu.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. If the session is set, if the session is set, then you're going to be able to do a view profile, edit profile, or log out. So you'll have those links. If it's not set, you don't have those links. I was kind of looking down here. It's using the session down here as well to put in the view of each person's profile as well. So if the session user ID is set, then do this, else show it without the link. So it's pretty simple.
So then in those pages that are, you have that same setup for the same security check.
Yep, you do.
Just URL.
You'd have to put the same security check, or they could just type it in to get there. So let's look at one like edit profile. What's at the top? We changed files, it looks exactly the same at the top. It's going to do the same check to see if the session is set. Let's look for session. Yeah. So here is checking the session, and what is it going to do if it's not set? It's going to echo, please go to this reference to access this page. Exit. So it's going to send them off to the login page. If they get to the edit profile page without logging in.
Any reason you wouldn't do that right up in the first look?
Well, this up here?
Yeah.
Well, the only problem is to put a page, you need some of this, top of the page stuff. With your header and that kind of thing. Then it just drops. So it dropped out of this check, put a little HTML on the page, and then did the check and either sent them on or let them continue on with this page. Here's the rest of this page. Okay. Wait for a few minutes and we'll look at a couple more. Okay. Yeah, Steve.
I was wondering, the edit profile that you're going to the only one that you're allowed to do that. You're prepared to do the profile. Would it be just as well as when you click on the link, you know you're going to user ID, et cetera, you just send it over as a form, and then grab that stuff and check to make sure that it's matched instead of doing all the sessions and what have you.
The only problem with that is a person could
Somebody's clicking the link, and so that's already been dynamically put in as far as the name and stuff.
yeah, but anything that you can put in a link, you can type into a URL, or you can program into a program and send to a page. Even post information that you don't see on a URL. You can form a post post data and send it to a server without a web page. You can just, you just have to know what a post looks like.
Can we learn how to do that?
Well, maybe. So Cal had a question, and Sharon had a question. On exit, can you direct it to a specific page? On the, yeah. Can you ask a question during break, Cal? Sure. Can you type it? I'm going to go get a drink in a second. Oh, there you go. Okay. If I'm trying to put an if inside a while clause, inside a table cell, inside a while clause, I keep getting an error. Well, do it right.
She must have a missing bracket.
I don't know, Cal. I'd have to.
In the code, let's look at it.
Yeah. Is it up on the server now? Can I look at what the code looks like?
Or just ask him if you can paste it.
Okay. This is going to be an awfully. It's going to be an awful small window to look at the page. Yeah, I'd have to look at it, Cal. One moment. Okay. I'm going to go get a drink real quick. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, see. Sure. Yeah. You know, when I just want to see the concept being happening. In fact, you know, if you in your application, you've built your application in such a way that you could probably use it as a good a resume. it looks good enough. If somebody wants to ask you, you know PHP, you can say, sure. Here's an example of stuff I know how to do. You know, and so all that to say is, if you want to incorporate this in a slightly different way to do administration and that kind of thing, I just want to see that you know how to do this stuff.
Number 7, I
Okay.
kind of front end.
Yeah.
Front end was exactly what I'm doing. The front end is incorrect.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to remember my question.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Huh?
is there anything in the documentation?
No problem. Yeah. I'm supposed to put on my syllabus website things like, you know, attendance policy and what happens if people are late. And I hadn't really done that, but generally I don't really care, especially on a class like this. You can come when you want to. Yeah.
Is there anything in the documentation that said we were supposed to write this with the middle 18 sign-ups?
No, I made that up.
Well, I know a lot of people doing build link, and I didn't do build link. I did contact list. And when it
The very first assignment was a Little League contact. Yeah. If you go back to like assignment Was that a 3 or 2 that I already said?
Is mine okay the way I'm doing it?
Yeah, and what I was saying to Steve back there was, I want to see what we're learning in class in your application. I don't care if it's a contact list or
Totally.
Little League or
Big league.
Big League. I don't really care. I just want to see that you're doing the same kind of. Just don't make it so complex that I have to spend a year figuring out what to do. Well, but you pasted that window. Oh, sorry, Cal. I mean, I could get it if it was up on the server or something like that, but.
I wanted to type it into the chat window.
Yeah. You know, these guys are saying you could just type it in, and I think that's probably a little bit much.
So probably type it right and then it'll work. It'll work. It'll be my look.
Will she come in and she's giving you a link to the file?
Here's the link.
Yeah.
I don't see a link. I don't know, email. I don't know, read
Maybe
email.
she's working on it.
There it is. Where'd that go, Cal? You see what I see?
It's the missed part of it.
PHP. Control C. Yeah, I'm still in it. Looks like you have an infinite loop. I don't know. Yeah, so this isn't gonna let us look at code. No, recreate the error. Okay. Well, okay, thanks. Yeah, email it to me and I'll look at it tomorrow or the next day. We'll figure it out. Do I get into Internet Explorer? I don't know. Okay. So here was edit profile. We looked at that, and let's look at log out. Okay, so like everything, starts with a start session at the top. But this is the page the person's going to go to if they hit the logout button. First thing it checks is to see if the session has been set. Okay, if the session has been set, it's a really funny way to erase the session variable, but that's what that's doing.
Assign the array of all the variables to the session.
Yeah, it's basically assigning a blank array. You're just like overwriting the session variable with a blank array. Is what you're doing.
On the logout.
This is a logout because you don't want that to be there anymore. So what does that tell you? That session array will still be there if the session has expired or it's gone away. So you'll need to blank it out. Now you check to see this is the cookie that saves the session ID on the PC. So you need to expire that. So how do you expire a cookie? Yeah, minus time. It could be now too, but their convention in the book was just set it sometime in the past. They arbitrarily set it to an hour ago. Yeah.
I'm just wondering why you can't leave off the time, the fact that you're setting it to the empty string should have the same result, right?
Yeah, but you'll have a cookie laying around with an empty string in it.
Okay.
It won't be expired.
So what about leaving off the minus one?
That ought to work.
Pardon?
That ought to work just fine. The only thing that could happen is if the time on their computer is a little bit in the past, and you set it your time now.
Still a matter of just expiring when the cookie expires.
It's a matter of when the cookie expires. If you want the cookie to go away now, you set it to someplace in the past. But
Does the machine keep track of time zones?
yeah, I believe so.
If the user, which time are you talking about there?
This time,
Timer.
That's the server time.
this is the server time.
So you can put it on 0 and then that'd be 1970.
Reset
Yeah.
the,
I think that's right.
you actually have a command of session _unset. And then a third session.
Okay.
Like session start.
Yeah.
Well, this is the other side of session start. This is session destroy. So that actually destroys the session. So everything, this top part was just getting rid of the session. You set the session array to a blank array. You remove its cookie and you destroy the session. But then you still could have the cookie laying around on the browser that allowed them to log in. So you need to get rid of that. So you get rid of the user ID and the username cookie. Their way of doing it is an hour ago. And then
safer just to put the session destroy outside of that just set session user ID. What if they cleared the user ID? You still have the session.
yeah, possible. I don't know if there's any problem with that. You know, I don't know if the session's not there, and you destroy it, what it's going to say. I don't know if it's going to give you an error or not. But this is nothing that the user can do.
Right, but you know that's true.
So
If you had a bug,
if you had a bug, yeah. If it's like I mean, some things are nice in that, you know, if you do if it was being nice, what it's going to do, you know, you destroy a session that's not there, it's just going to do nothing and go away. That would be the nice way for it to handle it. But I don't know if it's really mean about it or not. And then the very bottom of it is just to redirect to another page. It's going to go back to the index page again. Yeah.
is it true that every time you call session name, it'll return exactly the same result for the same domain?
When you call,
Session name functions, like on line 9 or line 10.
like this one,
Yeah,
is it going to return the same?
same is probably that, like the G.
I think that's the GUID that it returns.
So
Yes.
would that be unique based on the URL or based on the domain of the site?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So every time you come, whether it's today or a year from now, it'll be the same number?
Well, not for the session name. Session goes away as soon as the browser goes away. So that GUID is is not worth anything as soon as the browser goes away.
Yeah, but if the browser comes back and you say session start and then call session, will that always return the same result?
I think it's going to be new every time. It's going to be the same result for the same session. As soon as the browser goes away, that session's gone.
Come and test it.
Okay.
So it's just a set, the next number, another thing, it's a service, PHP service, that's that, maybe?
The session name?
Yeah.
When you start a session, when you do this start session the very first time on that login page, there is no session there, and it creates one at that point. That session is maintained for the life of a session, which is the yeah. It's just a. It's not necessarily a counter. It's a unique ID that's gotten for that session.
Probably based on the URL.
What I found here is unset parentheses $sign session bracket to enable the session. That will free up the session variables.
Okay, so that's another way to free up the session variables, is to unset the session name.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not the way the book suggests doing it.
And then destroy it.
Okay. Yes, Steve?
Just curious, let's say you don't kill the cookie off for the next 6 months. Come back 2 days later.
Yeah.
Does the code at the beginning of the setup, so I guess you get each section ID off, but since it recognizes the cookie, let you come back.
Yeah. Yeah, let's look at that code again real quick. Where was that? Log in. Log in. Nope, that's not it. Yeah, there it is right there. So this little bit of code right here does that. So let's say you go to the index 2 days from now, and you bring up the index.php page. Comes in through the start, does a session start. A new session is created. There is no session before that. It asks if the username is set in the session. No, it's not set. So that little, it's going to fall down to this, and it's going to say, is the user ID set in a cookie on that computer? It goes and sets it in the session. So that has to be on every page that's person that can get to without logging in. So this is the common start of every page you want to be secure.
Right.
Okay. So Mark has told us several different ways to get rid of the session. But
Well, I read the one off the W3 school.
okay. Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay. So we covered everything. Sessions and cookies. I think we've covered everything. Let's look at what I'd like you to do for homework. So create a copy of your application like normal. Jeff, go
I
ahead.
have a question. So we have this database where we have users that already logged in. They created their username and their address and all that stuff. Now, with this assignment, we're going to say we're a real site, and we're going to have this ability for the users to add their own login information without adding a password and a username. How do you recommend doing that the first time? How do you know that it's not that gray-haired lady in the book signing everybody in with a fake username and password?
Well,
How do you bootstrap what you have already without losing everything and allow people to now have their own username and login?
That's a good question. Let me go through, I think you've read this already.
I did.
Okay. Let me go through this and allow me to think about it a little bit more.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure
Because it's
how to do that.
practical.
Yeah.
You're changing sites all the time. How do you do that?
So then,
Generally, they should already be set up.
Yeah, but say we forgot, we're building our site from scratch. Just like,
Let 1,000 people come in and do their thing.
yeah, we've got 1,000 users. What do we do?
yeah.
Well, I don't think you would ever let that happen.
You're smart, you would never let that happen.
You have to send the temp registration.
Yeah, Jeff's comment was, what do you do with the current database that doesn't have any logins and passwords, and how do we get people to be able to do that again?
Create them without allowing the hacker to come in and screw everything.
Create them all for themselves. Yeah, I can't think of a way offhand. The only way I can think to do that is, the book suggests you have a moderator, and so people can come in and do it, but you have a moderator that reviews everything, and even that's suspect. So.
Well, if I have 1,000 users already logged in or set up, and I want to add the registration and login and passwords,
Yeah.
I would argue that companies use their name for the username, and then set a password for everybody, and then email their temporary password for them to change it.
Yeah, there you go. That would be a way to handle that kind of thing.
Well, I would try to use maybe something out of their database, their file, to make it unique so a hacker can't just figure out how to get in. Yeah.
I think you have a good idea.
Yeah. So generally, all the assignments are meant for you guys to practice what we learned, this week, and that's generally what this one's going to do. So basically, I want you to be able to have a registration page. You can do it however you want, but I just wanted to make it simple so that you could show the what we learned here. So I was going to just have you change the registration page to ask for a login and password, much like the example did. You'll need to store that away. The not allow just people to edit like you do now on your application, not just allow anybody to edit, but they're going to have to get logged in. Allow only logged in user to browse the database, to get to whatever your browse page is. And then allow the user only to edit their own information, much like this example did. I'd like you to use sessions and cookies, much like the example did. So if
Saving the extra credit.
let me get there, just a minute.
Okay.
Provide a way to log out, and now the extra credit is if you disable cookies on a browser, then you really like your application to continue to work.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you do that, and it's very explicit in the book on how you do that, you add the session ID information to the URL, and you pass that around in your application as opposed to it getting it from the cookie because it's not there anymore.
But what's the part about GoDaddy that's not have that correct option set?
That passing stuff around on the on the URL will happen automatically if cookies are disabled on the browser. If you've got a certain setting set in your php.ini file, it's called transfer session ID, or it's a ID like that.
And they don't have it set.
And they don't have it set. Now I could have set it, but then I couldn't ask for this special extra credit work. The way you get around that fact that a site may not automatically put that session ID on the URL is you manually put it on yourself. So the extra credit is to manually put it on yourself.
So basically, it's a mistake when you get down to the link, if they don't have cookies enabled, then you go ahead and make the URL like this.
That's right, because we know our site doesn't automatically do it. Now that I noticed, these guys do, and if you're using one of these embedded sites, like Mark and Justin are using, then you can configure it any way you want.
How do you detect if the browser has cookies disabled? You try to set it and then retrieve it? I'm sure you can try to set it, it shouldn't.
I don't know.
That's what I was trying, just using because if it's not
Because if it's not set, you don't give me ever log in.
So that's what I just told you, how they work when they're disabled. Yep, that's right. There we go, PHP.
Code when you set cookies.
I think this is going to tell us right here. Set cookies, yes, time, plus 3600. What is it doing? Oh, so yeah, that's all they do.
Trying to set it and read it. But can you look at the documentation for set cookie? Maybe it returns a code already. Yep.
It returns a bool. What does the bool say?
Okay.
Look at that. They're very explicit there, aren't they?
I'd like it to do.
That's what you'd like it to do, but it's not what it does. This does not indicate whether the user accepted the cookie.
we have to set it and
Yeah.
they set it as 0.
Set it to. They set it.
Somewhere, but they set it and then that.
They set it to yes. With an hour's time. And they're checking for whether JavaScript is enabled as well. I don't care about JavaScript. I smiled for you guys online. That was a joke. Okay, so there's checking both of them. But yeah. So how does the
I don't know.
If set get JS, why would that tell you if JavaScript is enabled?
Or maybe this is because it didn't work, the person asking the question.
Yes, you got to be careful of that.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, what else we got? Any other questions? Okay, so next week we're going to learn how to, I haven't really graded for neatness in code yet. I haven't taken any points off for code that looks like a mess. And I won't this time for this assignment, but I will the next time. Because the next time the whole class is kind of on how to organize code, how to use templates in your code, how to not duplicate data. Some of you are already doing this quite a bit already, but it's the official class on it. Plus, I'm going to add just be neat. And we'll talk about how to just be neat and make code more readable.
Does that include adding comments?
I'll talk about that.
But I mean,
Will
comments come under the heading neatness?
I may ask you to at least comment one of your files and let me know which one it is. It's hard to go back through, 10 files if you got them and comment them if you haven't. Although, some of you guys are just doing that already, and that's great. You won't have much work to do next week. Any other questions? Okay. On to next week. It'll be due a week from tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Jim, I'm reading your comment, Jim. Just said. See you guys. Used ID from my Lily Table and session. Yeah, the ID really isn't the session name. Session name is a number that goes down to the browser, saved in a cookie when cookies are enabled, so that the server and the browser can keep track of the session. So that session name is something specific for the browser and the server to keep track of the session. The user ID that's in your database, you may want to save that, but you would probably want to save that as a different ID. Does that make sense to you, Jim? Sounds like either makes sense to them. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Looks like we might have another one.
When does formatting start to count? Not on this assignment, but the one next. But it's good for you, Jim, so you could try starting now. I won't count it, though, for the assignment I signed tonight. That would be 7. Yeah, I won't count it for 7, but I'll count it for 8. Right, I will not take off the prettiness in 7. And I think I'm going to regret that. They're going to be really ugly now.
Can I show you something I did a while ago?
Sure.
Feedback?
Sure.
You have to use Chrome though.
I have to use Chrome.
Yeah. Unless you can tell me why it won't work in Firefox.
It's probably your JavaScript stuff, right?
Oh well, this is JavaScript gone crazy. Okay.
Okay.
But it's with PHP.
Is it on the Google site?
Just type in radio-showcase.com. I reworked the site, so I don't know, about 10 months ago.
Like that?
Yeah, that should be it.
That's pretty.
If
So
you
this is a
scroll,
PHP. No, that's not PHP.
yeah, I had to because if I use HTML over at Sonic,
Yeah.
it doesn't recognize the PHP. But
Oh, really?
you mentioned, or somebody mentioned, there was some kind of a setting, I guess you could put in the HD access that says, hey, this was a...
Yeah, it says you can. Yeah, it's Jeff is the guy who did that. You can look at his site and grab it off of his site.
Yeah, if I would have done that, I would have. Because I had to go through and start changing all the extensions when I started rewriting a lot of this stuff. But if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that Google I put that in there.
Okay.
And the reason for that is...
Well, what does it do?
yeah,
see it's
well, the thing is go up to search catalog, or not search catalog, but go up higher than that. Actually, can't you reduce the size of this thing? Go to view catalog. And then just click on one of those. Those are all radio shows. And then click on the buy button. And then look over to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you can go click another one, A, B, C, D, whatever.
One of these?
Yeah, the rest is an index. And you just click on another list. And click on the buy button. And then go add it over there.
Oh, cool.
And then you can remove it. And if you want to check out, you hit the checkout button. This is all doing this in real time.
So where is it saving all this data?
What's happening is, and this is what I kept mentioning about posts,
Yeah.
okay? Whatever you do here gets sent on the next time you switch the page out, all as post data.
Oh.
And then, in other words, it's a JavaScript, right now it's basically a JavaScript array, okay? That gets sent. PHP takes the array, puts it back together to image it out, but it also puts it back in a JavaScript array. So in a sense, I've got JavaScript talking to PHP and vice versa all over the place here. And and it's not using the database. The database is a flat file. I never got it into a MySQL.
Yeah,
That's the only difference, though.
Okay.
You know, but I have no sessions, none of that stuff.
I'm gonna try it in.
But if you do it in Firefox, what happens is when you go to change pages, it loses that.
So something Firefox is doing something about it, huh?
Yeah, in other words, it'll work in WebKit. If you add a couple of things to the shopping cart, and then you go and do a search, or just, you can do this. Now the thing is, let's go to the search catalog.
Right here?
Yeah. And now it's starting to keep it. Okay, search for something. Type in your birth date or something. But you have to do it with slashes. Or some more radio show it. Type in Jack Denny. I'm sure you remember Jack Denny.
Sure. Want to spell it?
Yeah. Oh, wait, no. There was one N. You put two in. Actually, it's C-E-N-N-Y. I'm sorry. I can't spell.
Oh, sure. Looks right now.
They disappeared.
Oh, yeah.
And, I don't know if it's some kind of security feature where it's saying, no, you can't send any more post data or some other things going on.
Well, so this data here is post data too, right?
Right, because what it's going to do, it's going to go to another PHP file, right? And that's going to search for that program. And then when it finds it, it goes and puts the page together. But at the same time, the way it does this thing rigged up is that it puts that back together too.
Oh, okay.
That's, but
ingenious.
it's, this always drives me crazy when I go to do these things because, I pick out the browser that I like the best. I work it, do it on that, and then I find out it doesn't work on one of the other ones.
And it doesn't really matter which browser you choose, because you could have done it in Firefox, and something else wouldn't have worked in Chrome.
Well, no, that's probably it. But the only thing I got going for it, Chrome's a WebKit, and so is Safari.
Oh, okay.
So it does work in Safari for the Mac and the PC.
Oh, okay.
But
because it uses the same engine underneath.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I haven't been able to figure out what's going on with that thing. But in a sense, this is just an example of JavaScript and PHP going
Going nuts.
Yeah.
Like you say.